I know you're not in the Senate, so this is not necessarily your purview, but can you give me a little bit of reaction from your side of things to seeing one of Donald Trump's nominees have to withdraw his name?
Well, you know, on the Democratic side, we've been a bit underwhelmed in terms of all the nominees that this administration has put forward. And I guess this is just another example of where you nominate someone to head an agency that person really wants to destroy the agency and take away the agency's commitment to what the agency is supposed to stand for. So I think it's generally a positive thing. But of course, he'll be replaced by somebody else, and we'll have to see if those kinds of problems or similar problems surface. But so far, most of the cabinet choices have been a bit underwhelming.
So what would you be looking for in a replacement?
Well, someone I think who's moderate, someone who doesn't want to stifle the agency. You know, labor is supposed to help people, supposed to get at pocketbook issues and workforce issues. And if you don't believe in those kinds of protections and you're the head of the agency, what does it say for what kind of job you're going to do? You're going to be at cross purposes with the agency you're supposed to run, and that's really problematic, I think.
Congressman, I know you have to run, but wait, just hold on if you can for another 30 seconds for me. I want to go back to Peter Alexander for just a quick final note on this. Peter, do we have any idea who the administration plans to nominate in his place?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, you know, we haven't had an opportunity even to focus on who's next, given all the challenges that Puzder had until this point, which we had been zeroing on right now. We'll be focusing on that a moment from now. I think what is notable to share is that if he had been confirmed, Puzder would have been the first labor secretary without government experience, in effect, since the Reagan era. So it'll be interesting to see whether Donald Trump sort of sticks to his guns and focuses on folks who are outside the public service sector and focuses on those folks with private business experience, or if he continues with what he had tried to do with Andy Puzder before. Casey
Hunt, one final question to you as well. What role did Oprah play in this? How significant was it?
An unusual situation here, Katie. This interview that Puzder's ex-wife did many years ago on the Oprah Winfrey show was actually showed to senators behind closed doors in the course of this confirmation process. And it did play a significant role. The Republican chairman of the committee allowed this to go forward, telling various news outlets there's no reason why this shouldn't be seen. We should definitely note that the woman in question withdrew the domestic violence abuse allegations that she leveled at Puzder in this interview with Oprah. So that's kind of been the back and forth there. But it's entirely possible that this could have become the center of a contentious hearing, which of course was set for tomorrow. You'll note that this is much past when we've held all of these other confirmation hearings. This one kept getting delayed. That, of course, is a sign of trouble afoot. And part of kind of that process was making sure that senators had a chance to take a look at this interview. Again, those allegations were eventually recanted. It's important to note. But an important behind-the-scenes role here.
Congressman, if you're still there, I want to go back to you. I know we had you on. I'm glad you are still there. I know we initially booked you to talk a little bit more about the news of the day, which is Michael Flynn. You say that you believe this current drama, if you will, is bigger than Watergate. How so?
Well, I think it has the potential to be bigger than Watergate. That's why I'm for the creation of an independent commission to seek out really the truth. We have a situation, you know, Watergate was serious, and there were lies then, and it was a political break-in. It involved the United States, both parties in the United States. This, with Russia's involvement, has the potential to be far, far more dangerous. You have a country that has itself in an adversarial relationship with the United States. You have a leader of that country who's invaded Crimea and eastern Ukraine and several other countries in the region. And it seems that there was a very cozy relationship between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, or people working with Donald Trump. And there's always going to be questions and whispers until we get to the bottom of it, until we get to the truth of it. And why this is much more serious is because you have Vladimir Putin, who's the former head of the Soviet Union, the Russian KGB. He wants to destroy Western democracies. He wants to destroy NATO and the European Union. And if there was some kind of collusion, it seems pretty obvious now that the Russians involved themselves in the U.S. Political election, the presidential election, putting the heart of our very democracy at stake with the leaks of the DNC and whatever. And I would be just as outraged if there were leaks for the RNC. I mean, I don't want Russia or any foreign hostile country interfering with U.S. democracy and U.S. elections. And it's pretty clear that they did, and we're suspicious about it, and the American public ought to know the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Congressman Elliot Engel, a Democrat from New York, thank you so much for staying around. Also, thank you to our own Casey Hunt and Peter Alexander for breaking that news for us. On the Andy Puzder withdrawing his nomination news, we also have a little bit of reaction out of the Senate. Here is a tweet. We're going to throw it up for you on the screen from Elizabeth Warren on Andy Puzder.